All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig in a Pickle Krug Show. All right, we're gonna do a little live stream. We're gonna talk a little Niners day 1 and day 2 of the draft in the books. Niner fans are pissed. They are pissed. We'll talk a little bit about it. I'm not as negative as maybe a lot of you. I've got a lot of hope for tomorrow. We may have a special guest. Should be a fun night. Fun night to talk a little draft. Come aboard the Krug Show. Off and running. Oh, got to stretch out. Man, the lacrosse game wasn't very good. It wasn't very good. We lost in lacrosse. The Niners lose in the draft. Welcome to the Krug Show, brought to you by Pig in a Pickle. The best barbecue in all of Northern California is Pig in a Pickle. Join me there. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're soon to open in Petaluma. I keep saying that, but it's coming. It's coming. Those damn permits. But they'll be opening soon in Petaluma, and then we will be out there for the grand opening. Thank you to Damon and Mary for being proud sponsors of the Krug Show. We love Pig in a Pickle. The best barbecue. Go get the brisket. The brisket chili, the house-made brisket chili is absolutely amazing. If you get there on those days where Damon's making the chicken pot pies, oh, those are amazing. In fact, I'm just going to get out of here. I'm going to go get something to eat. No, I'm going to stick around. But thank you to Pig in a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. And they have been with us since the beginning. And we're really excited that they got that third location coming soon. And really fired up to say that we're a part of their growth. Very cool. Very cool stuff. I talked to one of our other sponsors today, Alomar Marina, where you can dine and eat on the Sacramento River. And they're excited to be Krug Show sponsors, and they're going to continue on with us. We're really excited about that as well. Brandon and all the good people there at the Alomar. If you're up in Sacramento, float while you dine. We'll talk more about them in a bit. The Krug Show is presented by Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app. Prize Picks is super simple. You just pick more or less on player stats and even game outcomes. You build your lineup. It's available in most states, including this one, California. If you haven't checked it out yet, use code HMA when you play $5. You're going to get $50 in lineups instantly. Thank you, Prize Picks, for being awesome sponsors of the Krug Show. And so, we're really fired up about Prize Picks. Also, we're really fired up about Habbas Law. Thank you, Habbas Law, for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. HabbasLaw.com. They will fight to make it right. When everything's on the line, choose the team that understands that. And that's Habbas Law. They fight to make it right. HabbasLaw.com. Omar Habbas, Tarek Habbas, and all the good people at the Habbas Law team. Proud sponsors of the Krug Show. All right. Let's go to the green room. There he is. What's up, Al Madrigal?
What's happening? How are you?
I haven't given you the proper introduction. St. Ignatius class of
89.
I thought it was 90.
No, 89.
89.
Older than that.
So you're only 1 year behind me. I thought you were 2 years behind me.
No.
Are you sure you didn't skip? Are you sure you didn't skip a grade?
No. If anything, I should have been set back. My favorite Larry stories. You always knew where the party was because Larry was cruising around with a car full of chicks.
One time, this guy, before he was a megastar, went to a party that had to be 50 miles from his house with no ride home.
That is true.
But yeah, I'll say you this, man. You always found the good parties. I mean, let's be honest about that. There were some incredible parties in high school, and then you would find your way there, man. I mean, and there were some amazing parties on the beach.
Thank goodness that our parents didn't have those trackers like they do now, like where you can actually do Life 360, because we were all over the place. I mean, city kids got in a lot of trouble.
Well, you know what it was? As a city kid, I discovered Marin in high school when I started playing lacrosse. And I was like, oh, yeah, lacrosse. And we started playing all these schools in Marin, and then we'd have parties after the games in Marin. And they were quite a bit different than, hey, we're tapping a keg at Fort Miley. I went from tapping a keg at Fort Miley, and getting into a fist fight to, hanging out on Reed Ranch Road in Tiburon, in hot tubs. I mean, it
Yeah,
was
and
great.
playing some hacky sack.
Hacky sack. You never serve to yourself is the only rule of hacky sack.
How
And
you
if you
been?
do serve to yourself, they throw it right at you.
How you feeling about the draft? That's what everybody wants to talk about.
I know. Yeah, that's what everybody's here for, the draft talk. Okay. Everybody's panning it. I heard Grant Cohn panning it. I mean, Dave
Well,
Lombardi
I
likes it.
mean, the
Dave
the
Lombardi
third
likes it.
round running back was the thing that put it over the top. I'm sure. Yeah.
I love this running back. Al, I'm telling you, I love this running back. Now, I agree it's a reach, and I agree that, the Niners have a terrible track record of these third round running backs. So I understand why people maybe are just quick to jump this. But this is a culture changing type player. I love this guy. He's
I hope
tough.
so. And I just, it's hard for me to judge anything considering this is their job. It's same thing with me in comedy. It's like somebody trying to dissect comedy in the comments when they're not doing it every night and they're not out there. It's like, you have this draft room, which I've been lucky enough to be in the past. I got invited one year and got up, it was the fourth through seventh round the year they drafted George Kittle. I was
You,
lucky enough to make that draft
you
pick
oh, you
or
did? You
call it.
announced that?
I
You
announced that
announced the
draft pick.
Kittle pick?
I announced the Kittle pick.
No way. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, it was amazing. And I got
That's
up
good
and
karma. You should almost like
yeah, they
season
should give
tickets
me
for
a
that.
fifth rounder every single year. You'd think, but yeah, it's they know what they're doing. But again, we have Garendo. Then there's the who's a lot of people waiting in the wings there. So obviously they see something in this kid and they're excited about him. So it's hard for me to judge and question experts. So
But
I'm hesitant to do it.
yeah, no, I know. I mean, here's the bottom line. There's two different conversations here. There's draft value, and then there's the draft. It's like nobody remembers the value. Like you said, you announced the Kittle pick. That was a fifth round pick. Brock Purdy was a phenomenal pick. That was the last pick in the draft. Tomorrow could save their bacon. Today was a little underwhelming from the standpoint of, okay, Deshaun Stribling, it looks good on paper, right? 10-inch hands, 4.3 speed, but I mean, he's an older player, and he was projected to go about 30, 40 picks later. Seemed a little bit like a reach. Okay, still did it. He did it in the college playoffs against Georgia, the best team. He had a major game again, for Ole
Yeah, I
Miss. So
remember watching that Georgia game and him standing out. So
yeah,
I definitely knew who he was.
so these are like, they got players out that are like productive players at the college level, but they weren't really loved by the pre-draft crew. And then it's like, okay, because you didn't like the player, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, how good is he? And I just think, there's a lot of people out there that really pan the Stribling pick. But if you look at like what he did in the college football playoffs against Georgia, he had 7 catches for 122 yards in that game where they upset him 39-34 in the semi. So, and then against Miami, he had 5 catches, 77 yards. So, I mean, the guy had, and he had, if you look at what the guy did after Thanksgiving, touchdown against Florida, 79 yards, 2 touchdowns against Mississippi State, 86 yards, the touchdown against Tulane, 79 yards, 122 against Georgia, 77 against Miami. I mean, that's he was rolling at the end of the year. So it's not like, and he has 10-inch hands and 4.3 speed and great run after the catch ability, 6'2", 200 pounds. I mean, it's on paper, it doesn't sound all that bad. It really
Yeah,
doesn't.
he said he's excited to block. He's a good blocker, and that's what they're
Right.
missing with Juwan Jennings. So, yeah, I mean, again, I'm not so mad at that one. It's just the running back is the only one where I was like, geez, again?
It's
Are
a
we doing this
reach.
again? Yeah.
It's a real reach. I mean, it was like, but here's the thing about this kid, and I understand why. So okay, so he goes to the Senior Bowl. He shared time with this Roman Hemby. They win the national championship. Their season goes longer than anybody. He had an incredible run in the national championship or in the college football playoffs, where he just tore it up. I mean, just absolutely tore it up in the college football playoffs and owned every game and was great. And then he shows up at the Senior Bowl, and all those other guys had like a month to rest, and this guy shows up and he was better than them. And it was something else to watch. He was really electric. He's 5'10", 210, but he's got this unbelievable leg strength and power. And towards the end of the year, the guy really was very, very good. So, we'll see. Third round running backs, have been their death knell. Shanahan makes this mistake, but I'll say this. I love this player before the draft. He's a little bit older, but he's like a culture player. He moves the pile, he runs with power, and he runs with purpose. I mean, it's a good running back. It's a round and a half to 2 rounds too early. So and they've drafted Trey Sermon, Joe Williams. They've drafted all these guys, and Ty Davis Price in the
Ty Davis
past.
Price, yeah. I was
Yeah,
just saying.
but I love this kid. I think he's going to be really good.
Look, when
I think
it
a lot
comes
of
down
people are
to it,
ripping
it's
it.
ridiculous. I mean, again, growing up as a little kid, my dad could barely afford the tickets. We sat in section 62 above the Jumbotron in garbage bags when it was raining. And I'm not switching teams. So it's like, whatever. It's like I'm in for whatever this team decides to do. And I know they want to win. And so that's all you can hope for. I mean, do you want like I look at all these other teams that haven't won and or that are just doomed, like the Jets and the Browns, and it's like we're very lucky to be Niner fans, and we just have to go along for the ride. So, you know, hopefully, guards come, a safety comes, and we get good value out of this next round. So we have how many picks in round four? Four.
Let me look at let me check
I
the
think
board here.
four
So
in
they went
round four, and then one.
Stribling, Height, Black, and now they've got 4 in round 4 and 1 in round 5. So they have
Oh,
one, yeah. So they get 5 picks. What is this? I thought they had 2 in round 5. But this says the ESPN's thing says 4 in round 4 and 1 in round 5. So they go, the 7th pick in the draft tomorrow. Then they go 27, 33, 39. And then the 5th round, they have like the 39th pick after the 5th round. They can get some good players tomorrow, but you're right. They need some offensive linemen. I said this going into this thing. They got to get a couple players on defense, and they've got to get an offensive line, strong offensive linemen. And there's a couple tomorrow that I really like. Fabechi Wee and Jeremiah Wright and some guys like that are offensive guards that are still there. Brian Parker, Jalen Farmer, Jeremiah Wright, Bo Stevens. There's some really good. Fabechi Wee Micah Morris. I mean, there's a Caden Barnett. There's a bunch of offensive guards tomorrow that I think they're probably going to get one of those guys. So Mike. What was kind of surprising to me is that Mike Washington. Supposedly the Niners showed a lot of interest in the Arkansas running back. He's like
that's
ran in the
that's
4.3s,
yeah, that's what I thought.
and
I
he's
assumed
still
if they were going
there.
to get a running back, yeah.
And they went for Kalon Black over him, over Emmett Johnson, over Nick Singleton. I mean, guys that were rated, 40, 50, 60 picks higher. So they obviously fell in love with Kalon Black even more than I did. And we'll, as you said, we're not switching teams, but tomorrow is a day that
It's a
is a
big day
big.
for him tomorrow.
It's a big day.
Yeah.
It's a big day.
And then what are your thoughts on? I mean, not on topic with today, but recently with what's going on with Steve Kerr.
I know. Well,
I
Steve
just
Kerr
saw
at
it
the
came
end of
out.
that basketball game when he kind of huddled them together and said,
Yeah, that
"Hey
was his
guys, I
goodbye.
really love coaching you." It was like people were like, "That may have been the end." What? That's obviously the end. I mean, that's why he did it. I mean,
Yeah.
he thinks it's the end. And you know what? My read on it is just that Everything runs its course, and maybe Steve needs to move on. But Steve's a Hall of Fame coach, a great coach. You can have your criticisms of him if you want and say he doesn't develop young players and he this and that, whatever. And I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm sure he has flaws that are real, and the people that want to, took him to task. I'm sure they had their points, and I'm sure they were legit. But you're gonna have a hard time replacing him. He's a great ambassador, I think, for Warrior basketball, and it's gonna be hard to just get Todd Golden. You're going to throw him in there out of college. He's going to coach Draymond Green and Steph Curry. So
No.
it's a tough thing because it's like your dynasty died before your players' careers were over. So then you had
Yeah,
like
I
these
just always
extra
assumed,
years.
Steve Kerr had always said that when Steph was done, he was done, and I just always assumed that that's the way it was going to go. And then part of me
Kerr,
wanted, Draymond's, to step right into that coaching position after he was done. So I assumed that Steve was going to play, Steph was going to play another 3 years, Draymond was going to play another 3 years, and then I would have loved to see Draymond coach the Warriors at some
oh, I
point.
think he will. You think he will at some point? There's a lot of talk about Andre Iguodala, which would be
That'd be
interesting.
cool.
That would be a very pro player type coach, but maybe that's the direction they go. Joe Lacob, though, kind of criticizing Steve Kerr in an email that became public, and kind of questioning Kerr, I thought was kind of the beginning of the end there. And I just think that Joe is, these owners that want to, be the GM, and that's him. I mean, I think everybody's like, he bought the Warriors, they won championships, and they're like, he's Eddie D. And it's like, but upon closer review, he's Jerry Jones.
Yeah,
And
he
that's
is. I
who
mean,
he
that
is.
James Wiseman pick, had
He's Jerry
his
Jones.
fingerprint. The Wiseman pick has his fingerprints all over it.
Yeah. I mean, look what they've done. I mean, he had Jerry West, he had Bob Myers, he had Travis Schlenk, he had Larry Riley, he had Don Nelson. He had some of the best personnel guys going, and he chased them all out, put his kids in the front office, hired kind of a yes man in Dunleavy, who's and is doing the doing everything himself, from the G League roster to the camp invitees to everything else. And they have a front office, they have scouts, but nothing gets done without Joe or his sons' approval, and they stopped building altogether. Justinian Jessup and Nico Mannion and Jacob Evans and Jordan Bell. It's like they got to a certain level and they just stopped building. I mean, the Spurs didn't stop building. They kept found Kawhi Leonard. Well, the Warriors just stopped building, and they
Yeah,
kept diluting themselves into, well, we need an older player to be around Steph, and then they brought in Jimmy Butler, and it's like your car's inching towards the cliff, and you just hit the gas and just go right off the side of the cliff, by
yeah,
getting
and
Jimmy
all
Butler.
signs point to like this 2008 All Star team being assembled next year, and we'll see what
Ugh,
happens. Yeah, it's
it's
and
ugly.
you're an injury or two away from being right back in the same place where we left off this year. So I saw something today where they were this might be motivated
It's
by
like saying that you got a hot comedy special, and who do you? Yeah, we have George Carlin, and
well, that would be great. But
we have
yeah, or we got
yeah, we have Richard
yeah,
Pryor, George Carlin, and Eddie Murphy.
yeah.
But it's 2026. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, dude? I love the shorts, dude. The short. I, I love your shorts the other day. I caught one the other day where you're talking about how you're ripping your kid. Like, let's not pretend that eat a lot
Oh
of
yeah,
different stuff,
that's from an old
dude.
special that because I took a lot of time off stand up and now I actually have been out at the Comedy Store. If anyone's in LA, come to the Comedy Store or tomorrow night I'm actually at the Comedy Store, Improv and Laugh Factory all in one shot. I'm just cruising around this Hollywood triangle, but I've been doing a ton of stand up. Yeah, that's from my special Shrimpin' Ain't Easy. And it's like my son, when kids like take a look at the menu too long, we're like, we know what you're gonna eat. quit pretending you got some sophisticated palate. We know it's going to be chicken tenders, buddy. Like it's chicken tenders cut butter pasta quesadilla. That's all you're doing.
You dropped an MF in there too, and it was awesome. Yeah, it was awesome. Are any movies coming up, or are you, or what do you,
I got a
you?
really cool Disney Plus thing that I did with John Favreau coming out. Called it's Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, and that was Walt Disney's first character before Mickey Mouse that Disney got back not too long ago. It's actually an interesting story. I think Universal owned Oswald because they bought him a long time ago, and then they wanted to start doing NFL football on Peacock, so they wanted Al Michaels, and some lawyers were sitting around a conference table, and they said, "Well, what should we trade for him?" And somebody said, Walt always wanted Oswald back, so they traded rights to an animated character for Al Michaels, and that's how they got Oswald back. And so I'm in the first. It's like three little movies together, written and directed by John Favreau, that are 2D animation mixed with live action. But Steve Martin's in it, Albert Brooks is in it, Catherine Hahn's in it. It's a pretty amazing cast. So I'm thrilled to be in that. And then so that's going to come out, I think, next summer because they have to do all the animation still. They're working on it right now. And then, fingers crossed, I'm in a NBC pilot that's coming out. Well, the pilot's been shot, but we'll see if it gets picked up in early May here. So,
Nice.
just steadily working. It's great. And doing a ton of stand up. I did Cobb's over the winter break, and that was fun. And now we've got this Netflix is a Joke festival down here in LA. So doing shows for that, and yeah, things are just moving steadily along. And
If you
yeah,
could walk
happy
into a
about it.
comedy club and see any comedian in any era, who would you want to see?
See, you mentioned Eddie Murphy, and that the reason why I'm doing stand up is probably Eddie Murphy because of Raw and Delirious. And he was like, when we had cassette tapes, we were passing around the Eddie Murphy cassette tape. And so Eddie Murphy has not done stand up in forever. And he's talked about coming back. I'm not sure if he ever will, but Eddie Murphy would be right up there. My favorite comics, I'm lucky enough to work with. Chappelle has been coming around quite a bit. So he popped into the comedy store
Dave's
last night at
incredible.
1:30 a.m. Yeah, and he's
He was
always
just
at the
here. He was just
San
here, I
Francisco
believe.
Punchline.
Yeah.
Yeah, in 2005, he saw me at the Punchline, and then I got to open for him on the road for a little bit. We were flying around right after he got back from Africa after leaving the Chappelle show. So yeah, it's been surreal, man. I mean, doing stand up and then getting to now next thing you know, you're in a plane with Chappelle. It gets weird. It's been very cool.
Did you back to the draft for a second? Did you see McVay and and Les Snead yesterday on the Ty Simpson, where it just really didn't look like like McVay wanted to draft Ty Simpson. I mean, it's
Well,
unbelievable.
I was watching Scott Van Pelt tonight, and they were talking about it. Was him and Kyle Brandt, and they were talking about like still having to. I mean, he's still married to Stafford, so he can't like get super excited about this new QB, no matter if he doesn't like him, if he likes him. So they thought that might be it, but I'm just happy to see the Rams whiff at everything, and then there's a relationship there, so. That speaking of players drafted 5 rounds too early,
Yeah, but I mean Ty Simpson.
good.
I mean, it really didn't seem like. Now it's funny. Ross Tucker on a podcast today was like, "Hey, maybe it was you know there's a lot of veteran players there, and the veteran players are not going to be happy with Ty Simpson. So maybe he, to not lose the room of the veteran players, has to kind of pretend like it was like the GM's idea, and that he would rather go for the weapon that wins now. Because I mean, they could have had Makai Lemon from SC. They could have had with Devontae Adams and Puka Nakua, and instead They went with a guy who, if things go right, won't play a single snap all year. I mean, I'll say this: when Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch walked into our post-draft presser, and we were asking them about that pick, they both were smiling ear to ear. I was like, I think the Niners love the fact that the Rams took their top 15 pick and used it on a player that probably won't play.
Yeah. Yeah, I think everybody. I think Seattle. Like you could see, like you saw a bunch of reactions. Everyone's thrilled.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's. I'm happy to see. I mean, I want to see Rams fans suffer. I'm lucky enough to go to that game every single year. Now we're not going to get it because it's going to be in Australia. Are you going to go to that? By the way.
I don't know. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about here. Let's watch 54 seconds of the most awkward press conference. Maybe it's
Yeah.
27 seconds. 27 seconds of the most awkward press conference of the weekend. Here it is. Les Snead on the left, McVay on the right.
That made you convinced that.
I think it's been a process, that started in the off season per se, especially when Sean coaching staff got involved, and then that process goes all the way up until
Touches his nose.
the latter parts of last
McVay
year.
looks pissed.
And then at that point in time, like I've mentioned in here, the ship's got to, the sea's going to shape the 13th pick. You had to fall.
What made you all see? What did you see in Ty that made you convinced that this was the guy that you guys wanted to draft and build towards the future? Did you guys even talk to Coach DeBoer at all to kind of get to know more about Ty?
I think that at the end of the day, probably
Not saying anything.
McVay's like, it's not my show.
Offense has mobility, so that's probably the macro. There's a lot more variables that go into it, but that's the macro, I would say.
He looked over at McVay. McVay just gave the one that looked pissed. He looked pissed.
How much? So it varies from, obviously organization to organization, how much say the coach actually has in the players that they're drafting. I mean, because, some coaches want complete control over that entire process. They want to select everybody. But in this case, I think you're seeing that the GM, they picked. McVay did not pick him.
No. I mean, I think it's pretty clear. A lot of Niner fans are pissed tonight because the Niners did not invest in an offensive lineman. And they're going to be even more pissed when they hear this little soundbite. This is John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan from their presser after the draft. And let's hear what John had to say here about the O-line.
You guys have picks at 107, 127, 133, 139. And I don't know if you guys feel like you have a starting left guard right now. Do you believe you either have the starting guard on the team now, or can you get that guy with those picks that I just mentioned?
Well, I think a little of, first of all, you just mentioned the picks we have. We'll see where the draft takes us. We believe we have good options. Connor Colby is a guy who started 6 games.
Yeah.
Round pick from Iowa last year. We like the progression that Connor had. We like where he's at, how he's looking as he enters year 2. Year 1 to year 2 is always a big jump, and we hope to get that jump from Connor. We went out and added some competition with Robert Jones and Brett Toth, 2 guys that have started games in this league, and Brett has been more of a center, but we believe that his skills translate to give him a chance at that left guard. And so we have options there, and we're excited about those options.
What do you think, Al? Should the Niner fans be nervous about the offensive line? Do they really like their options internally, or do you think they're just saying that?
I mean, this is back to how I started. I mean, they're with them every single day. So if they're saying they like them, they must like them. I don't know what to say. It's like I'm not on that practice field every single day, and so it's impossible for me to say. I just know that I would just keep stacking offensive linemen until you had that unit that just really can protect Brock Purdy and run the ball. Because you have all the stats handy, like Christian McCaffrey last year. Running efficiency, not great, right? I mean, it was
No, I mean,
rotten for him, even though he had a tremendous amount of touches.
yeah, I have it here in front of me actually. Let me
I'm going to guess like what 3.6 or like 2.6 or whatever.
Oh, he struggled. But the 49ers, though, the numbers that really stand out with the 49ers, I think, at running back were the Niners were 25th in the NFL as a team in rushing yards per game. They were 30th in the NFL in rushing yards per attempt. Brian Robinson, the backup running back, only played 17% of their offensive snaps. And I think a lot of Niner fans are frustrated because the Niners, in the draft under this regime have invested running, high picks in Joe Williams, Trey Sermon, Ty Davis Price, Jordan James, Elijah Mitchell, Isaac Guerendo, and
Guerendo didn't get one snap last year, did he?
no, he lost. The thing about the Guerendo thing is, and I don't know if it's cause and effect, but in training camp, one day, he fumbled 3 times, and I'm not even joking. The next day, they signed Brian Robinson.
Wow.
And I think, it's a cutthroat kind of a world. You know what I mean? So I don't think at all that those things are unrelated. I think those things are very related. So I think the truth is that Guerendo's big and strong and fast and athletic, but I think he's, Shanahan's probably lost a little confidence in him, and he's probably maybe lost a little confidence in himself. There's got to be a role for him though, because Al, I mean, he's like, there are times on the practice field, you're like, that's the most athletic player on the entire field.
He's lightning fast.
Yeah, and he's huge. He's a big, fast running back who can catch the heck out of it. He was a high school receiver. He's got to find a role for him, get him isolated in the passing game on a slower guy, and just throw him the ball. He's got good receiving skills. He's fast as hell. So, I mean, they got to figure out a way, but he's got to hold on to the ball. I mean, in the NFL, you fumble and it's death.
Sure.
Fastest way to get cut is fumble. So I think, we'll see what he looks like this summer, but they're never going to say, hey, we lost confidence in the guy. But, I think they pretty clearly did. So
what are your predictions for what we see tomorrow with those 4 fourth-round picks?
Let's check out what's best available here. Put this on the board. People can see this. I think a lot of people would like to see the best on the available board. Where is it? There it is. Okay, let me see here. Best remaining players. Here it is. Jermod McCoy's got some kind of injury, so we'll take him off. God, Keontae Scott would be a great player. I mean, he would be a great player. He'd be a corner, but I love this. I'll tell you there's 5 or 6 players I truly love on this list, and I'll just give them to you. Keontae Scott, Miami. He's a corner, but he plays the run, and he had a pick 6 in the national championship game. He was an ordinary player at Auburn. He transferred to Miami and became this awesome player. Then he had a pro workout where he ran in the 4.3s, and he had 43-inch vertical. I have no idea why he's still there. He's an awesome talent. He's not for everybody. He's kind of a blitzing corner, but I love him. Mike Washington, but they can't go running back again. This guy, Jalen Kilgore, is a tremendous secondary guy for South Carolina. He's like Nick Emanwari. He's big. He's fast. He can play linebacker. He can play corner. He can play safety. I would definitely use one of my picks on Kilgore. I think he's really, really good. They already used a pick on a receiver, but I love Deion Burks from Oklahoma. He's a super burner. He's very, very strong. If they're looking for an athletic linebacker, this Kyle Lewis from Pittsburgh is very fast, converted safety, but he's very, very fast player. An edge rusher, these 2 guys right here, Joshua Josephs from Tennessee and Dennis Sutton from Penn State. Those guys are really athletic edge rushers, and they could use either one of those guys to go with Romello Height. And then offensive line. I mean, you're looking at Brian Parker from Duke, and I'm sure this next row of options here has a bunch of offensive linemen. Jack Endries is the former Cal tight end who went to Texas. He was at the Niners local pro day. He's an interesting player. Jalen Farmer, Niners like offensive lineman who can run off the ball. Farmer had the best running time. He had the best 40 time, I believe, of any of the offensive guards, and he's tough. Jalen Farmer would be a great pick. This guy right here is I think, a really interesting player. Harold Perkins from LSU. He played the star position at LSU. He was a 5-star high school recruit. He's 6'1", 223. He's like the size of an outside linebacker / safety. But he's really not any of those things. He's really a pass rusher. But he's an awesome pass rusher. and then he ran like in the 4.3s. He's like just one of the
Wow.
greatest athletes in all of college football. And I think Raheem Morris, this guy would fit Raheem Morris's defense as a blitzing rusher, outside rusher linebacker. So I think he's a sleeper player on day 3, Harold Perkins from LSU. So yeah, that's kind of the list. I mean, there's obviously more guys. They worked out this Jamari. Oh, here, this offensive lineman I really love because the 49ers need to get stronger inside. And there's 2 offensive linemen that they got to find tomorrow. One of them's this guy, Jeremiah Wright from Auburn, converted defensive lineman, 3 seasons, super wide body. This guy's so wide. I mean, remember that car from the 70s, the Pacer? Remember that thing that was like,
Yeah, he looks like a Pacer.
he's wide like that old Pacer car. He's just ridiculously wide. But he also played in a scheme that was part gap, which is, and part zone. And the Niners run a lot of zone, and I think Jeremiah Wright can do it. I love Jeremiah Wright as a player. And then there's a couple players here that are really interesting as well. Zane Durant, pass rushing defensive tackle from Penn State. I think that would be a fantastic pick to get him. Michael Trigg with the receiving tight end from Baylor. Without George Kittle for a good portion of next year, that would be good. And if you're looking for another, offensive lineman tackle, Isaiah World tore his ACL, and that's why he's there at 75. Otherwise, Isaiah World would have been like a first or second round pick. He's 6'8". He's 320 pounds. He's got ridiculous long arms. He's a great athlete. He tore the ACL, so it's going to take. He may have to redshirt this first year. But if you're the Niners and you're looking at, a replacement for Trent Williams, and you're going to pick in the 5th round, and you could get Isaiah World, I think that's a fantastic pick. So those are just some of the guys tomorrow. The Fabechi Wiwu and Jeremiah Wright are the 2 offensive linemen that I think are really, really strong and could help the 49ers. The 49ers have to do a better job inside blocking the Seattle defensive front. I mean, that was, I don't know how much you saw of that playoff game, but I mean, Seattle's defensive front just totally dominated. So one other name to keep an eye on, this receiver from Texas Tech, Reggie Virgil, has been training with Mike Evans this offseason.
Oh, wow.
And I think there's a very good chance that, they're going to bring him in as well. Because he's got a great rapport with Evans, and he's a big time talent. So Reggie Virgil is a name to look for.
Yeah, because what are they going to do for kick returner and punt return?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I mean, they still have Junior Bergen on the team from last year. They invested a pick in him, so he could be a return guy. If you look at their return depth chart, they have Jordan Watkins and Isaac Garendo listed as their returners. Ricky Pearsall also could be a punter. Here's the big question: is Ricky Pearsall going to fulfill his potential? What do you think of Ricky Pearsall?
I mean, it's been a bummer because when he has gotten time, he looks great. There's it comes in for a couple games and or it snaps and looks awesome, and then he's out stretching on the sideline. It's been rough, and obviously, him getting shot wasn't on anybody's bingo card, but yeah, it's been tough for that guy because flashes of brilliance. It's like my golf game, It's like he and for the most part, it's just not there because he's just not available. So I think
you're good at deciphering stuff. Look, I'll stop sharing the screen on this. Decipher this. This is pretty interesting. This was a scene inside. We just showed you McVay and Les Snead. That was the Rams war room. Now I'm going to show you the Niner war room. This is after the Stribling pick. Look at this. Tell me what you think of this. A lot of people are commenting on this right now, saying that Shanahan looked disinterested. Okay. Kyle looks kind of away. Looks up. This is when they just took
Yeah,
Stribling. It doesn't.
he's not high fiving anybody.
I mean, I don't know. It's a strained vibe there, isn't there? Isn't it? Does it seem? I don't know. That's an interesting one. War room analysis.
Well, it's just, I mean, maybe just all business. On to the next one. Is that what he's thinking? Like, who's up next? So
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, but and maybe that's a sequence that they just, maybe he wasn't crazy about that player. I mean, there's also that. There's a great side of draft night as well. The great side is this kind of stuff. To me, this is Romello Height on his draft party. He just got announced.
Oh, that's solid. I love how they're outside.
Oh, somebody's going into the pool. It's a great moment for these kids.
So
for sure.
you're telling me he's super fun.
We got a couple supers here. We got this one from Ray from Fresno. Huge Larry fan, been listening to you for 30 years. Bottom line, the Niners left great players on the board tonight. These are all great picks for tomorrow. React to the Niners picks today as if Damon was the only one pushing the picks. Was the one pushing the picks. Oh, he's saying that I'm negative on Damon Bruce. I don't know. I mean, maybe I am a little negative on him sometimes. JC New York says, if next time we play Seattle, they destroy our interior O-line and we can't score again, then these picks are wrong. Any legit left guard in free agency? Can we trade for one? Well, I really do believe that there's some good offensive linemen there. I mean, some really good offensive linemen. And they have a bunch of picks tomorrow. I would say before you judge the Niners, at least let the entire draft go through, because the Niners have done a really good job on day 3. And some of those, drafts on day 3, some of those picks, if how much different would their 2017 draft look if they didn't have George Kittle? How much different would their, draft in 2023 look if they are 2022 if they didn't draft Brock Purdy? Sometimes the guy you take in the last round kind of makes it. So I understand people's frustration, but I didn't love the Romello Height one, but he's got some quickness to the quarterback. I think all of them seemed like a little bit of a reach, but you know what?
And Romello Height, a couple shoulder surgeries, or
he had some shoulders. He's a 1-year player too. He only really had one big year. But like, if you look at his highlight, I mean, there's a lot to like about his highlight reel. I mean, heck, we could show his highlights. His highlights are absolutely incredible. He's got crazy bend. He comes flying off the edge, and he's got a lot of talent. There's no question about it. And he's got production this year. You want a player who produces, and to me, they got 3 players today who none of them are just like workout warrior types. They're all players. These guys actually produce. Here's Romello Height, a little video of him. Whoa, easy. Let's turn that down a little bit.
Nice, yeah.
Might be a little loud. But beyond that, here we go. Little Romello Height. And he's very slender, but look at the way he gets by these offensive tackles. Now, he's also playing out of a 2-point stance, and the Niners are going to use some 5-man fronts, and I don't know how Raheem Morris is going to use him. Is he going to be used in the 4th? To me, he's a 3rd down specialist who's going to come on the field and rush the passer with speed off the edge. I mean, that's flying right there. I mean, that's really good range. He's got some great individual numbers. He's kind of spindly, strong, and long, but the production is there. It's just only 1 year production. And he's a little bit older. And as you said, there's been some shoulder surgery. So I think there's some people that are like, they're a little frustrated that maybe
Yeah,
the
but he kind of looks
Niners.
like when just, Micah Parsons rushing the quarterback. He's like
He's super athletic, bendy guy.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of, he kind of reminds me of. He reminds me of Leonard Floyd. You remember, who the Niners just had a couple years ago. He reminds me a lot of Leonard Floyd. He's long and skinny, but he's got some unbelievable numbers. As far
And
as
with
PFF,
with Huff going away, it makes sense. So I mean, again, we need that guy if he can produce. And like you said, coming on third down, we need a player that can get to the quarterback and is fast.
Kyle Posey's a great follow on X, and he tweeted this out. He said Romello Height was second among all edge rushers in this draft in win percentage at 22.5%, slightly behind Ruben Bain, who was at 22.9%. Height was third in quick pressure percentage, fourth in pressure percentage overall. This is the kind of juice he'll bring in the Bryce Huff role, and he shows, some. I can show this film. This is only a 4-second clip, but he has a 4-second clip here. I mean, overall, another guy tweeted out Romello Height as a PFF player this year. Overall, he was given a 92.5 grade. That's elite. He had a 92.6 pass rush grade. That's an elite number. He had 91.2 grade in true pass sets. That's an elite number. And he had a 21.8% pass rush win rate. That's an elite number. So, I mean, you're talking about a guy who, sixth in this class in total pressure rate, fourth in pressure rate over expectation, third in quick pressure rate, 89th percentile broad jump, 94th percentile of vertical. So he's a great athlete. There's no question about it. And he's super bendy. And he's a different kind of player than they've had in the past because Raheem Morris wanted a smaller player. It's funny, Al, Raheem Morris has been joking in the Niner draft meetings that like his favorite line, I guess, is when he says, hey, if we can get this player, I'm going to throw a pool party. He keeps saying, if we can get this player, I'm going to throw a pool party. So I don't know if these are pool party worthy players here, but there's no question that if you look at Romello Height, you can see the length, the speed, and he's not Nick Bosa, but he's going to play like a five. He's got a great spin move. You saw it there, and he's going to play 5-man front as just a pure speed rusher, right? And he's got a lot of speed. He can use his hands, and the numbers are there. So Romello Height is skinny but productive. Kalon Black was a little bit of a reach, but I love Kalon Black. And then to me, it's really this draft class, or the draft class so far is going to be about this receiver Stribling. I don't love going receiver that early, but obviously they felt like, this was the guy. The thing that's awesome about Stribling is that he's got 10-inch hands and he runs 4.36. So, yeah. I mean, that's pretty freaking amazing, right? That right there. If I just said, hey, tell me about a receiver that you drafted that you like. And it's like, hey, well, he's got 10-inch hands and he runs in the 4.3s. The 49ers don't have a receiver that has 10-inch hands that runs in the 4.3s.
Like you said, with Ricky being unavailable, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, here's Dane Brugler and Josh Norris, who are two of the sharpest draft guys there is, and they're talking about Stribling. Listen to this. This is a pretty good little soundbite. And if I put it up there, it would be
that I don't think he qualifies. But after we get the draft night, it's becoming more and more that I don't think he qualifies. But Dejon Stribling from Ole Miss, like he's a guy that I think has been gaining more and more steam throughout the process. And obviously, you're 6'2", 210, and you run a 4.36 in the 40 at the combine. That's going to open some eyes. But I think with the way he performed, even going back, he started at Washington State, then was at Oklahoma State, and then Ole Miss. And just watching him over the summer, I think there's something here. He's a good size athlete, and it's someone that has produced. And he talked to scouts about the way he approaches the game, the mindset, check all those boxes. And I really appreciated the way he performed in the playoffs. He was the weapon. You find a way to get the ball in his hands, let him use that speed, and he's been pretty popular this pre-draft process, a lot of teams, he's at the point where he's turning down visits because he just doesn't have enough time. I know of 3 teams that he had to say no to, just because we're running out of minutes in the day that he could potentially get to these cities and meet before the draft. So the interest is high on him. I think you talked to a scout in November, they're saying probably 4th round for Stribling. Now it looks pretty comfortable. He's going to go somewhere in the top 64. It's just a matter of how.
So that was Dane Brugler who wrote The Beast, and that's the ultimate draft guide right now. He likes him. So, overall, there's a lot of people ripping this draft. I would say it's more popular on the internet right now to be like, oh my God, it sucks. And they reach, and I get it on the running back, and especially the Niner history. And when you've taken as many bad backs as they have, you're just going to have to live with the people ripping it. All I'll say is this. I think I know a little something. I think Kalen Black's really, really good. I think Niner fans are going to love Kalen Black. So, like in the Senior Bowl, Al, he goes in there and the first carry, there I go, a 5-yard run, and then he went for like 8. And then like on the next carry, they're like, 4-yard run, and he went for like 7. So the guy really does run hard and pushes the pile. Do we lose Al? We may have lost Al. I don't know if we can get Al back.
I was reading a Nate Tice.
Yeah.
It was
Breakdown.
A breakdown of Stribling, and said one of his favorite players. I didn't realize I couldn't do both things at the same time. I don't have your tech, but if you want to pull it up, it's
It's Nate Tice on X.
Yeah, love Stribling.
Let me see that. Nate Tice did a thing the other day with his dad, Mike Tice. I don't know if you ever met Mike Tice, but he's a former offensive line coach. Great guy. And they did a 2-hour breakdown on offensive linemen. I was like, whoa, this thing's deep. It goes really deep. Let me see.
Yeah, sorry to put you on the spot. I was thinking I could do both at the same time. I cannot.
I've got 2 different keyboards, and my battery keyboard went out, so now I'm over here on the other sideboard. Yeah, there I see Nate Tice. Let me see if I can find that though. It's
another really positive message, about post about Stribling. So again, looks like he was gaining popularity, and we'll wait and see. It's done. Again, and those guys decided that he was going to go quick, or they thought somebody else was going to grab him, and they picked him up.
To me, when if he didn't, like, they give you an example. People are like, oh, it's a bust. It's like A.J. Jenkins. The A.J. Jenkins thing was obvious to everybody. He played in the Big Ten. He did nothing. He ran a fast 40 time, but he didn't have any production at all. Stribling lit it up in the playoff game and is big with huge speed, major run after the catch ability, and he's considered to be the best blocking receiver in the entire draft. So I think we ought to pump the brakes on that one. Also, I would say pump the brakes overall on just critiquing this draft, because the Niners have a lot of picks tomorrow. A lot of picks.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll text you tomorrow, and we'll see how we do. But wait and see on everybody. Hopefully they pick up a couple of those tackles that you were mentioning, and they, get guys waiting in the wings to protect Brock and run the ball.
Yeah, seriously. Are you coming up for any games this year? Are you going to go to Australia?
I might go to Australia. I got to wait and see if the sitcom gets picked up, and then I'll know my schedule. But I have a ton of Australian friends, so I have a lot of buddies that have already bought tickets. And then my cousins are all in a box already, so I'll be joining them there. So yeah, I'll definitely be there if I'm available.
Good to see you, man. Hey, yeah. I'll let you go because I got a bunch of these things to read and a couple different. I got to do a prize picks lineup, and I think I'll save you.
No, you're crushing it on the work, Larry. Like, you put in the work. I remember when we had a conversation years and years ago about what your next move was going to be, and you are excelling. So I'm thrilled to see you doing so well.
Well, it's funny. my son has, grown our thing from just a YouTube to now there's all these TikToks and all that kind of stuff. I had a woman run up to me in a Target in Seattle during the playoffs. It's like 10 o'clock at night. I needed some saline solution for my contacts. I realized that they took it from me at the airport because they thought it was, contraband or whatever. So I had no saline solution. I wear contacts, and anybody who wears contacts knows that's not a reasonable. You can't just sleep with them in or anything, and just can make myself miserable. So I got to run to Target, it was Target, and I'm on like top floor of this like 5-level Target in Seattle, and this woman and her husband walk up to me, and they're like, "Look who it is! It's Mr. TikTok." And I'm like,
Mr. TikTok.
I've
I
never
love
been
it.
called Mr. TikTok. And I'm like, oh, I look at the husband. I'm like, you a big fan of the Krueger show? And she's like, she's the fan. And then, you're a big fan of the Krueger show? And he's like, she watches your TikToks. And I'm like, thinking to myself, I don't even have TikTok. So I'm like,
your son has
unbelievable.
TikTok.
My son has produced
all right.
TikTok. So now
Mr. TikTok, congratulations.
TikTok.
I will. I'll text you tomorrow.
Sounds good, man. Have a good weekend. Thanks for jumping in.
All right, later.
There you go. The great Al Madrigal, international superstar. SI class 89. I thought 87. I thought 80. I thought 90, but no, 89. 89. Major motion picture star now on the Daily Show, comedy routines, all kinds of stuff. God, Al Madrigal. He just sent me a note tonight. He said, "What do you think of the Niner draft?" I said, "I'm doing a stream. You want to jump in?" He said, "Yeah, let's do it." All right, let's hit some of these supers. We got that one, and we got this one. If next time we play, okay, we got that one. And do we get this one? None of these guys will play. Height won't do shit. That's Joseph Ehrenberg. Okay. Ray from Fresno. I'm more mad than you're not mad. I'm more mad that you're not mad at the 49ers. First of all, you got to give tomorrow. I got to see tomorrow. But the Stribling receiver, he wasn't the receiver I would take, but I'll say this. I love a receiver that was productive at the end of the year in the college football playoffs, has 10-inch hands and 4.36 speed, and supposedly the best blocking receiver. So I didn't study him and wasn't big on him, but I just didn't go down the rabbit hole. When I threw out a number of times who are guys that, that are sleepers for the draft, people I should know, blah, blah, blah. Lots of people threw out Deshaun Stribling. Lots of people. I mean, that was a name that came up a lot. So this guy has fans, and I think this guy's got some game. So there's that pick. Romello Height, I would have gone with Jayshon Barham. I think Jayshon Barham is a little bit bigger and thicker, but you know what? Romello Height has probably got a deeper bag of pass rush moves and is probably more advanced as a pass rusher, but I don't know if he's got enough strength in his body. So I'm a little like, but this is also this is a piece to a defense that wasn't the Niner defense last year. Somehow Raheem Morris is going to give them a different look. And I think you're going to see some 5-man fronts, especially on some third downs. And I think you're going to see this guy off the edge, and he definitely can heat up the quarterback. Now he's a specialist. And I would have loved to have seen, as I said, Jayshon Barham from Michigan. And then Kalon Black was a definite reach. I mean, I'll sit here, if I can get mad about it, but you know what? I don't get mad like that because this is at the end of the day, whether you get the draft is about identifying false favorites. All right. All these guys are favorites. They're all conference, all this, all that. And then they've got a number of factors, and then people break it down. This is a really productive running back, Kalon Black. He went to the Senior Bowl. I thought he was the guy. In fact, there was a couple times in that Senior Bowl watching that thing where I'm just like, you know what? Screw the rest of this stuff. Go get this guy. He gives you that conviction like, God, you want this guy in your team. I love Kalon Black as a player. Love him as a player. I understand the 49ers have taken Ty Davis Price, who couldn't play dead, and Trey Sermon, who, too much dancing in the backfield, not enough speed, and Joe Williams was the wrong Williams in Utah. They should have taken Jamal Williams. That was the worst of all of them. He couldn't play at all. And I realized they've taken some backs that haven't been great, but they've also, I mean, Elijah Mitchell gave them some pretty good run as a late round back and pretty good short yardage back. So they've gotten some things. I don't know about Jordan James. I'm not a big Jordan James guy. I'll freely admit that. He catches the ball pretty well, but he's not fast. He is kind of thick, but does he break tackles? Is he durable? Is he tough? I don't know. I don't know about Jordan James. He looks like he's got some ability as a receiver. He's definitely got the right running back build, but I think this is a statement that maybe they don't believe that much in Jordan James. Why would you go running back 3 rounds too early? It was probably a 2.5 round reach. I mean, it was a big reach. I like Kalon Black, but I was thinking they were going to get him, on day 3. Now, I don't really care because at the end of the day, this guy is a good running back. 5'9.25", 211 pounds, strong as hell, 27 reps on the bench. That's more reps than CJ West had last year. 153 on the 10-yard split. That's quick as a hiccup. That's a great time. 4.45 in the 40. That's plenty fast. 37.5-inch vertical. That shows he's got major strength in his legs. And then when you watch the film, you see that strength in his legs. This guy moves the pile. I love him. Absolutely love this kid. He is a culture-changing type of a back. Now, there's bigger backs. There's faster backs. And I think they may be able to draft Mike Washington tomorrow. They may go for another back. But first of all, I think for a team that wants to run the ball, you need to have backs. And Christian, they ran Christian into the ground. And they can't keep doing that. So I love this back. And I talked about him a lot with Damon on Wake Up. Talked about him a lot, throughout the year. I was absolutely enamored with this guy in the college football playoffs. He's tough. He's a leader. He's jacked. He's really strong. Really, really strong legs, very powerful, physical. Drives the legs like you want, like you coach it up. I mean, that's the other thing. He's a coach's dream. Bobby T's going to love this guy. This guy keeps the legs going. There was a quote in the draft guide from Maryland safety Jalen Husky. He runs about Kalon Black. He runs extremely hard. I felt every hit. I'm telling you, go watch the Senior Bowl. If they're gonna probably show the Senior Bowl, re-show the Senior Bowl, you could probably get it on demand. Go watch the first series of the Senior Bowl and watch this guy. He had every reason to sit out the Senior Bowl. He played in the national championship game. He easily could have begged out. Instead, and he should have been gassed and tired because his season was extended. He played more games than all these other guys. These other guys were just sitting around, resting up, getting healthy. He was the one playing real football games, and he goes to the Senior Bowl in Mobile, and he was the best back in Mobile. He was fantastic. And in the game, he ran hard. And that's the way he plays. He's got leverage. He runs low. He's got contact balance. He can run between the tackles. He's got 4.4 speed. He's powerful. He makes cuts. He makes explosive jump cuts. Very sudden back. He's got vision. He trusts that vision. He hits the hole and goes. I'm not saying this guy's a Hall of Famer, but there's a lot to like here, man. This kid's got guts. Guts. Kind of reminded me a little bit of Emmitt Smith as far as just guts. Tremendous guts. Great feet. And had at least one run of 10-plus yards in 15 of 16 games this year. In fact, I'm going to show the video because I put this out the other day. If you type in Kalon Black in here, and I did the other day, you're going to see a video of him just stonewalling blockers It's just awesome. Now there's a lot of new ones here because Niner fans are putting a lot of videos out on him. But yeah, here he is. Here it is. Here's the video. Josh Norris put this out. And this shows him in pass pro. Hold on, Ray. Continue your anger in a second. We'll go back to we'll continue with Ray's anger in just a moment. And it's okay to be angry. It shows that you care. I get angry a lot. What? Yeah, I know. I know it's hard to believe. I'm so jovial normally. All right, here we go. Here's Kalon Black, offset, Mendoza right here. And just this is all Black blocking. Look at this guy as a blocker. Square. The goal is stripe on a stripe. Now they're playing a team that doesn't have a stripe, but you know what I'm saying. Here we go. Oh, wait a second. Wrong button. This button. There we go. Boom. I mean, it's great contact right there. Boom. Stonewalled that guy. Gives no ground at all. Boom. Knocked him off. Mendoza down the sideline. Boom. That guy goes nowhere. Kalon Black will step up and do this. You don't play for Bobby T unless you block. No block, no rock. That counts for receivers. It counts for backs. You got to block. Boom. Penn State kid, stonewalled. Still nothing there. Here's against the Buckeyes. It's probably the national semi. No, maybe not. This might be one of the other earlier games. This might be the Big 12. Is this the Big 10 title game? Boom, right there. Now, Stonewall's Alabama. Blitzer. Okay, so that's it. That's the whole tape. 57 seconds of Kalon Black. He blocks. That's my point. My point is he blocks. He blocks. Back to Ray and his anger. Ray from Fresno, I'm more mad that you're not mad at the 49ers. Well, let's talk about tomorrow. Let's talk about what's out there and what's still left to do. Niners tomorrow. Let's take a look at what they got and who's available. And I think there's still good things that could happen here. So they got a receiver with speed. They got an edge rusher who's light but can help them in these 5-man fronts. They got another running back. What they didn't get the guard. They didn't get the safety. They didn't get a future tackle, and they didn't get any defensive tackle. They didn't get any, they could probably use more edge. I think they could probably go edge again. So let's go best available and see who's out there. Oh, wait a second. Wait. Before we do that, we're going to look at what the Niners had as far as picks. So tomorrow they go 4 in the 4th round and 1 in the 5th. So look at the reality is that they're likely to trade one of those picks back for picks in the later rounds. That would be my guess. They might just go and pick 5 players tomorrow and call it a day, 7-man draft class. But I think it's more likely, especially with 3 picks in 10 there, that they're probably going to move one of those picks back for multiple picks. I think that would be the smart play. So who do we want tomorrow? Who would round out this draft class? All right, let's talk about a couple things. 1, Niners issues coming out of Seattle last year. Their receivers had the worst separation I've ever fucking seen. They had absolutely no separation at all. So getting Stribling in his 4.3 speed is going to help. So that should help, okay? But they also could use a tight end who can run. So that's something to look for. Is there a tight end who can run? But if there's another receiver out there, it's a great day 3 receiver market. So maybe you go with another receiver, even though you have Stribling. Then if you go with another receiver, I don't know, you might have to trade a receiver. So, I mean, that was one issue. The other issue is that they could not block Leonard Williams or Byron Murphy. And they're too strong for the Niners interior. So let's go to best available and look who's available at, oops, oh, wait a second. Just hit a commercial spot there. What? Get rid of that. Okay, here we go. Let's go to guard. Okay. Now, Brian Parker from Duke played right tackle at Duke. He's played center in the All-Star games, and a lot of people think he's a center. Tough, really strong, really strong. Parker's smart and strong. He's going to go early in the 4th round. The guy that I like for the Niners tomorrow is this guy, Jalen Farmer. Started every game at right guard for Kentucky over the past 2 seasons. He's a Florida transfer. He's 6'5". He's 312 pounds. He has great speed. The scouts really like Jalen Farmer. I mean, to me, this is probably the guy that I'm going for tomorrow right away. Okay. I really like Parker and I really like Jalen Farmer. Now, I love this guy right here, Jeremiah Wright. He's played in a combo gap scheme, zone scheme at Auburn, converted defensive lineman. Past 3 seasons, he's played guard, the ultimate in wide body, the ultimate in strength, the ultimate in heavy hands, the ultimate in road grading run blocker. This guy needs technical development as far as hand placement, a little bit of coaching, leverage. He needs to get in a little bit better shape. But he's quick and he's wide and he's strong and he's played multiple schemes and he's played in the SEC. And I love Jeremiah Wright. He would be a fantastic player. I think he's I think even though he's a late day 3, he's a day 3 player, but I think you could start him at left guard and really have something. He is a road grading guard. I love Jeremiah Wright. So Jalen Farmer, Jeremiah Wright, like the Niners haven't done anything for their offensive line, but tomorrow they've got 5 picks. And if they drafted Jeremiah Wright or Jalen Farmer, they've done a ton for their offensive line. So I love those 2 guys. Now, the Niners have looked at Alex Harkey, I should say, a couple times from Oregon. Versatile player, more of a backup type. They've looked at him. They've looked at Bo Stevens from Iowa. Iowa runs the same system the Niners run. Okay. Go further down this list. Here's my guy, Fabechi Wiwu. Now, I love this guy. See, the problem is the Niners need more strength on the offensive line. Jeremiah Wright and Fabechi Wiwu would give them that strength, and they're both there on day 3. And I'm serious as a heart attack. You go get these guys and put them on the field, and you will be able to run the ball. They're big, strong, dominant offensive linemen. Fabechi Wiwu, 6'4", 319-pound player for Oklahoma, won the Don Key Award. If you say, what's the Don Key Award? It's the most prestigious award given out in the Oklahoma football program. He's a leader. He's tough. He's the strongest guy in their program. This guy's awesome. He's really, really good. 34.5-inch arms. He gets his hands on you in the run game and you're cooked. He didn't give up a sack all year. He only gave up 2 pressures all year. Fabechi Wiwu. Love him. I was telling the guys on KMBR about him, and they're like waiting for seeing where Wiwu goes. And I hope Wiwu comes to the Niners. So, yes. Am I a little frustrated that they went with some guys today that are, they a little bit of reaches? Yes. But the offensive line, it's not like, oh my God, that ship has sailed. It's far from sailed. You got 5 picks in the 4th and 5th round, and Jalen Farmer is right there. Jeremiah Wright is right there. Fabechi Wiwu is right there. Those guys are difference-making offensive linemen. Caden Barnett's a pretty good option, too. 6'5", 320 out of Wyoming. Kind of like Micah Morris as well. 6'5", 330 pounds out of Georgia. He's got great foot speed, really good talent. He needs to get in better shape, but he's got great talent. Cam Dewberry is as strong as a house for Bama. 6'4", 330, really, really, really strong. So it's there's strong offensive linemen there. They need to find a couple of really good day 3 offensive linemen and hit on that. The good news is they're there. And I know they haven't gone offensive line. It's frustrated a lot of people, but if they can wind up, if they ignore the offensive line, I'm with you. But if tomorrow they can wind up with a Jalen Farmer, a Jeremiah Wright, a Bo Stevens, a Fabechi Wiwu, maybe to a lesser degree, the Caden Barnett, Micah Morris, Cam Dewberry's. They got to get themselves an offensive lineman with some strength. If you can't block Murphy and Williams, you can't beat Seattle. I like Kalen Black, but he ain't going anywhere if they, are going to keep getting thrown around up front. They got to get stronger on the offensive line. Okay. So that to me is a major need. Got to get stronger on the offensive line. That's one. All right, let's move over to the defensive line. Let's see who's available on the edge. Who's left? Maybe need one more guy here. Joshua Joseph's really linear but athletic as hell for Tennessee. 6'3", 240, very light but great pass rusher. Dennis Sutton, Penn State. This guy's enormously talented. 6'6", 255, 260. I love Dennis Sutton. He's long. He's an athletic monster. I'm surprised they didn't go with him over Romello Height. Dennis Sutton's a bigger, heavier guy. I really like him. Caden Curry had 11 sacks this year for the Buckeyes. Mason Rager from Wisconsin is 6'5", 250, and really, I thought looked good in the All-Star game. He was the MVP of one of the All-Star games. He's got a motor. He flies around the edge. I kind of like him. I kind of like Fano's brother, Logan Fano, from Utah. I mean, he's a try-hard guy. Gums from Florida is pretty athletic. So, I mean, these are the day 3 edges. Wesley Williams from Duke, 6'4", 256. I actually like Duke has 2 edge rushers that are still left. I actually like this guy better. Vincent Anthony, who's 6'6". Vincent Anthony's long, really athletic. I saw Duke. They came to Berkeley this year, and we went out and saw that game. And Vincent Anthony is a really good rusher. I like him as a day 3 guy for sure. Tyreek Sapp is a really underrated day 3 guy. He's he's short and stocky, but he's tough. I mean, he very productive this year. Tyreek Sapp's got a motor. He's strong. So Anthony Lucas was a 5-star coming out of high school. If you see Anthony Lucas in a uniform, you're like, whoa, look at this guy. 6'6", 255. And he just really looks the part. Nadeem Tucker is a guy the Niners have shown interest in. He's from Western Michigan, 6'2", 250 roughly, 14 and a half sacks this year for Western Michigan. They say that one of the things that really transfers from college to the pros is sack production. If you can sack the quarterback in college, there's a belief that can be translated to the NFL. Kelly, this 6'5" edge rusher, athletic edge rusher from Central Florida, 36-inch arms, 10-inch hands, very athletic. Niners took a look at him. They brought him in for a look-see. And there's other guys here at the bottom that are worth mentioning. This guy Stone for NC State is a really try-hard, crazy special teamer, high energy. He's pretty athletic, man. I mean, this guy's film's pretty good. You should go watch this kid. Stone for NC State. He's interesting. Let me see. There's a couple more guys on this list. Mikhail Kamara is 6'1", 265. He blocked a kick in the Natty. He's just to me, this is another really good football player at Indiana. This is the reason Indiana won, because the Mikhail Kamaras of the world are really good. And yes, is he short? Yeah, he's short, but he's a really good edge rusher at 265. And if he doesn't get drafted, man, I would be on the horn trying to get him in there in training camp, because Mikhail Kamara is going to play in the NFL. A couple other guys, these guys at the bottom here are really good players. Eric O'Neill from Rutgers, 6'3", 255. Motor is always moving. Nathan Voorhees from Ball State, 6'3", roughly 250. Another guy, really good sack production, very athletic. And the guy at the bottom is my favorite of the group, Michael Heldman from Central Michigan, 6'4", 260. This guy plays with his hair on fire. So these guys are probably day 3 guys, and maybe even undrafted, undrafted players. But there's some options there. The edge rush options, there's some good options there. So they could go edge rusher because they definitely could use that. Let's look at the defensive tackle. They looked at Xavier Harris, and Xavier Harris had some off-field issues, but he's 6'8", 330, and if you watch this guy's film, he can rush the passer. He's not even a run defender. He's more of a pass rusher. Xavier Harris is a mismatch, man. This guy gets on an edge, and good luck. Kind of reminds me of Calais Campbell. 6'8", 330 with pass rush. Okay, so he's interesting. Grayson Halton from Oklahoma, super athletic player from Oklahoma, 6'3", 295. He's on the board. Daryl Jackson Jr., this guy's almost a comic book as far as his measurables. 6'6", 315, Florida State. And if you watch this guy's lean. This guy's got probably like a 32-inch waist. I mean, it's ridiculous. He's lean and just long and athletic. Daryl Jackson Jr. from Florida State is a crazy athlete. He's not like a big-bodied guy. He's not like Lee Hunter with a big kettle drum physique. This guy's ripped. I mean, this guy's 6'6", 315, and he looks kind of lean. DeMonte Capehart didn't play a lot of games at Clemson, but man, he's got long arms. He's 6'5", he's 315. He's got unbelievable rushing ability. He's exciting. Rayshawn Benny from Michigan is a player, 300-pounder, very athletic. Zane Durant from Penn State is one of my favorite players in the draft. Guy ran 4.76 at 291 pounds. I mean, to me, that might be the guy that I would draft first tomorrow. I love Zane Durant as an interior pass rusher. And as much as I love Zane Durant's ability as a speed pass rusher, this kid Caleb Proctor from Southeast Louisiana is got some of the heaviest hands I've seen. He's 6'2", 290. He's a one-gap penetrator, which is exactly the Niners system. Chris Kasarik likes these one-gap penetrator, get up the field guys. Caleb Proctor from Southeast Louisiana. I don't know how he wound up at Southeast Louisiana, but this guy should have been playing in the SEC. And he's a hell of a player. And to me, I think that, you only have so many picks. But if you get guys like Caleb Proctor and Zane Durant, eventually you're going to win games. Why? Because these are pass rushing 300-pounders with speed. Proctor and Durant. They're both in that same range. 6'1" and change, 6'2", 290 pounds, fast as hell. Renee Conga, another guy Niners are looking at. Really super athletic 300-pounder. Nick Barrett from South Carolina, just an enormously strong player. I couldn't believe how strong Barrett is. His knockback ability of offensive linemen is just ridiculous. This guy owns the line of scrimmage. Just an absolute rock of Gibraltar. You're not moving him. So, I mean, defensive tackles, and there's Tim Keenan is gigantic from Bama. Brandon Cleveland's athletic from NC State. David Gusta had great testing numbers for Kentucky. Skylar Gill Howard is a super high motor guy from Texas Tech. I got to think Chris Kasarik is going to call Skylar Gill Howard after watching how hard he played for his Red Raiders. Chris is a big Red Raider fan, and Skylar Gill Howard may not get drafted. He's awesome. He's 290 pounds. He can rush the passer. This kid, Jordan Vandenberg from Georgia Tech, had some amazing, he looked so damn good at the Georgia Tech Pro Day. It was obscene. This guy's strong and fast and explosive. But here's where I think this defensive tackle draft really takes off. Is down here, we're in the undrafted area here. These guys are probably, none of these guys are going to be drafted. And there's some damn good players here. Gary Smith, the third from UCLA, is strong as hell. Huge. James Thompson Jr. from Illinois started at Wisconsin, 300-pounder, finished up at Illinois. He was unblockable at the East-West Shrine game. Unfucking blockable. This guy's 300 pounds and kind of a badass. James Thompson Jr. Love that guy. Devin Eastern from Minnesota is another big body defensive tackle who moves exceptionally well. He's going to make a team and be good. I mentioned Renee Conga. This kid Conga is 6'4", 300 pounds, and he ran, I think, like 4.78. He's one of the best. This guy had one of the best testing profiles of almost anybody. He had, now he's not a big, sack the quarterback guy, but Renee Conga is a really, really good defensive tackle as on a day 3 situation. Jeffrey Emba from SMU, strong, 6'6", really interesting. And then these last guys are all interesting too. Tyree West from Tennessee is a defensive end, but he's 290 pounds. But he's a real defensive end. Uwar Bernard is from Nigeria. This is the 6'4", 306-pound player who runs in the 4.6s. This is maybe the most athletic player in the history of the NFL. As far as, now he's got to be raw. I don't know if he's even put on a helmet. But he's from Nigeria as part of that international pathway program. 6'4", 306 with like a 37-inch vertical, and he runs 4.63. Uwar Bernard. I mean, that's almost a comic book. I got to see that guy. Seriously, I've yet to, if anybody's got film of Uwar Bernard, send it my way. I'd love to see it. He's got measurables that are crazy. And then the last guy on this list is Landon Robinson, who follows me on X. I follow him now as well, too. This is the Navy defensive tackle, and this guy is special, man. This guy is really special. He's 6 feet, 290, sawed off, but he is special, and he's going to be special. The motor keeps going and going and going and going. So I really think if you said, where is there like undrafted value, I think it's right here at defensive tackle. I mean, I just laid it out for you. Look how many good defensive tackles. And we're talking a lot of these guys are not going to be drafted. So very impressive list of defensive tackles for sure. And there's a lot of, I would say, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. There's at least, roughly 20 defensive tackles that are going to go on day 3 or after the draft that I think are really intriguing. So that to me is the position in this draft. And I've done a bunch of the mocks. I've looked at all the undrafted lists. The real value as far as guys that can really play that are not going to get drafted, it's defensive tackle. There's a lot of good defensive tackles. All right, let's look at linebacker for a second. This guy is a really special player, Kyle Lewis. He plays hard. His coverage ability is unbelievable. He's built like a safety. Some people like him as a safety. I like him as a linebacker, but I really love him. He can really move. He's got great testing ability. He was very productive. Love Kyle Lewis. Now, there's a lot of these guys are good players. I mean, really good players. Caleb Elam's-Orr is a very, kind of think of D. Winters, a really fast TCU linebacker. Jimmy Rolder was a 1-year starter for Michigan, but he had a terrific year. Unbelievably impressive. Justin Jefferson from Alabama is an incredible athlete. Go look at Justin Jefferson's testing. 6 feet. He's 223 pounds, but he is crazy athletic. This is one of the most athletic linebackers in the entire country. Now, I'm a Texas A&M fan. I gotta talk about my guy here, Torian York. Ever since this guy showed up in College Station, all the guy does is make tackles. He's too small, too short, too this, too that, and except he just makes tackles and more tackles. Here he is. This is his game log. Hold on there. Easy there, sister. Okay, so now this is the game log. 10 tackles against UTSA, 10 tackles against Mississippi State, 8 tackles against South Carolina, 11 tackles against Texas, 5 tackles in the playoff against Miami, 72 tackles on the year, 32 solo. He has got 1 sack, 1 fumble recovery. Just a runaround guy, but he's smart. He's really smart, and he knows how to play. And Torian York is just I think, a very good player. Now, it doesn't end there. I mean, so Torian York. Okay, then you go down this list. Kendall Daniels is a hybrid player that the Niners worked out at Oklahoma. A lot of people like him. Wesley Basanth from Miami, super athletic linebacker. He's deep in round 2. Red Murdoch is going to be in somebody's camp. This guy forced 17 fumbles in his career. Now, he's too slow, but his tackle numbers at Buffalo are obscene. I mean, you'd have to bring this guy in just because of how productive he was. The Niners have worked out this guy twice, Khalil Jacobs. He's a Missouri kid who's uber athletic. He's a special teamer, great acceleration. I would say there's a very good chance that he's in their camp as an undrafted player. I'm not done yet. Shad Banks from UTSA is a really good linebacker as well. 6'1", 230, runs all over the place. All-conference player, really good. Xavier Sori, very athletic linebacker from Arkansas. Jaden Duggar is a jumbo linebacker for Louisiana, and he just made a lot of plays. 6'5", 240, but inside linebacker. So there's a lot of linebackers, okay? We looked at defensive tackle. There's a lot of defensive tackles. I would have no problem if the Niners just kind of loaded up at these 3 spots: edge, linebacker, defensive tackle. Okay, and then as I said, you got to get those strong. You got to get those 2 strong offensive linemen. I'd go Jeremiah Wright and Wee Woo and be done with it. That's what I would do. And I'm very confident that those guys are really strong offensive linemen. Let's look at tight end, though, because tight end is another spot. They really have a bigger need here than I think they even realize. Kittle tore his Achilles. I don't care what he says. He's going to say, I'm going to be back soon. You got to look for a big-time tight end here, a full-time tight end. Justin Jolly, very athletic player out of NC State. Okay, very athletic. Endries has got good hands. Started at Cal, finished at Texas. He was at the local pro day. If he doesn't get drafted, I would imagine Endries will probably sign with the Niners. Now, Joe Royer from Cincinnati, I think, is a really good tight end. And I love Michael Trigg. Michael Trigg from Baylor has got great ball skills. I mean, this guy can catch it with one hand. He's considered to be physical as a blocker. 6'4", 240. I like Michael Trigg. I like the confidence that he plays with. But he's not the only guy. Okay, Matthew Hibner from SMU ran in the 4.5s at 250 pounds. He tested really well at the combine, and he's got good film. And Hibner played with R.J. Maryland right here from SMU, and I love R.J. Maryland. This is Russell Maryland's son, and he is 6'4", 240, and a fantastic receiver. I mean, this is a really good receiver. Now, he's not much of a blocker. Okay, he's not much of a blocker. Another guy that I really love is this guy right here, Tanner Koziel from Houston, 6'7". And this guy had a productive college career. He was first-team All-MAC each of his 3 seasons at Ball State, 74 receptions at Houston this last year. This guy is huge, and he can catch. This guy's got, 6'7" tight end who can catch the ball. Really like Koziel. This guy, John Michael Gillenberg from Wyoming, another guy, 6'6", pretty fast, pretty athletic. He's interesting. So there's a bunch of guys. Bauer Sharp from LSU. I don't know what the heck happened. I don't know why this guy didn't play better at LSU, but he's 6'5", he's 250, and he looks like he's got an NFL body, and he can catch, he can block. I saw Bauer Sharp a couple times. I'm surprised that he's lowly rated. Khalil Dinkins from Penn State's a very good blocker. Shimon Mateer here from Arizona State's a very good receiver. The Niners showed interest in this Lance Mason from Wisconsin as an undrafted guy. I would imagine that this is the guy they would bring in as an undrafted player. So tight end, definitely Koziel, I think, is a difference maker. I really do. I think he's really good. And Trigg is a big time. The ball skills on Trigg are just ridiculous. Okay, let's look at wide receiver, because wide receiver, I think, is loaded. They already have a wide receiver, and I don't know that they would need another wide receiver. But, man, Deion Burks is like a poor man's Tyreek Hill. This guy lit up the combine. He had 26 reps at 225. He ran in the 4.3s. So explosive, unbelievable strength in his body. I know his production has been muted. He's played with crappy quarterbacks. I think Deion Burks is one of the most incredible, explosive guys at receiver I've seen this year. I love him. I heard Daniel Jeremiah doing a thing about him the other day, and I second everything he says. Skylar Bell from Connecticut, another good player. He's on the board. I really like him. Kevin Coleman from Missouri, really fast. Not as fast as Brennan Thompson, but fast. I mean, there's some big time. This is what's frustrating about the Stribling pick, is that Kevin Coleman, Brennan Thompson, Jeff Caldwell, Malik Benson, Josh Cameron, these guys are all, Kendrick Law. These are all really good receivers that are still on the board. So it's very frustrating that they took Deshaun Stribling early just because of all of the day 3 receivers. Kendrick Law is really good. Cameron, I think, is an absolute monster. He's 220 pounds. He's run after the catch. He's like a wild bull. But Deion Burks would definitely be my favorite of these receivers. And there's more. There's more guys down this list. And we'll mention a couple of them here. Reggie Virgil's been training with Mike Evans. So I think that if Reggie Virgil doesn't get drafted, maybe Mike Evans could impress upon Virgil to sign as a UDFA with the Niners. And if they can get Reggie Virgil as a UDFA, that's a great ad because he's got size and ball skills and he's NFL ready. That's a really good undrafted free agent. And there's going to be other options here. Barry Brown from LSU flies. Hugely fast. Unbelievable talent. Another guy that's on this list right there is Caden Weegan. And Caden Weegan from Iowa, 3 punt return touchdowns this year, 1 kick return touchdown, 10 runs of 20-plus yards in the return game, most in the FBS. So if you want a dominant FBS player, Caden Weegan from Iowa, gadget player, 4.47 in the 40, but one of the best return guys in the country. Really, really good. He's out there. Here's the guy that I love the most, Dylan Bell. You got to be smart and tough to play receiver. And this guy is smart and tough. Really underrated. Really underrated. I was talking to Mark Schleybaugh the other day about Dylan Bell. He's like, oh, yeah, I love Bell. Bell's great. Yeah. And it's like if you talk about, Georgia prospects, you could name 20 of them before you ever get to this guy. And he's a really good receiver. And he can run all the gadget stuff, and he's ready to contribute right now. Man, Dylan Bell, I would be on the horn to Dylan Bell as soon as the draft's over, begging him to come to San Francisco. Begging Dylan Bell. Emmanuel Henderson Jr. from Kansas. Played with Jalen Daniels at Kansas. Really fast receiver. Really fast receiver with size, too. 6'1", 185. I mean, Emmanuel Henderson, if he's even, he's leaving. He's that kind of burner. Aaron Anderson from LSU's fast. McAllister from TCU. Tyron Montgomery from John Carroll had a great Senior Bowl. Jordan Hudson. Chris Hilton from LSU. Interesting player with some ability for sure. Noah Thomas was great at A&M, transferred to Georgia, did nothing for Georgia. But you're talking about a pretty tall receiver, like 6'6", with ball skills. So interesting receivers. Lots of receivers. There's always lots of receivers. Let's look at running back. Mike Washington. Wow. Emmett Johnson, Nebraska. Wow. Nick Singleton. Damon Claiborne. These guys can run. Jamari Taylor's got great contact balance. Adam Randall's 230 pounds. Le'Veon Moss is a tough runner. Greg Cosell thought Katron Allen from Penn State was a good fit for the Niners. Jonah Coleman. How about Jonah Coleman? I thought there was a very good chance he goes in the 3rd round. He's still there. That's another good running back. Seth McGowan from Kentucky. Jam Miller might be the best blocking back in the draft. I was talking to Dave Lombardi the other day. He likes Robert Henry Jr. from UTSA. There's a lot of good players here. Eli Heidenreich gets a lot of CMC comparisons, the Navy kid. So there's the former Cal Bear, Jade Knott. Some interesting players. I like this guy right here at the bottom of the list, Jamal Haynes. He is a converted receiver who's a running back, and he played it. He was listed at 5'9", 190. It says 5'9", 190 here, but he put on 17 pounds for the pro day. He was 207, and he ran great, and he's strong as hell. He did a bunch on the bench, catches the ball naturally like a receiver because he was a receiver. I love Jamal Haynes as a day 3 guy, probably an undrafted free agent. So, I mean, as you can see, and then quarterback-wise, Nussmeier's still there. I think he's a good quarterback. It's not a good quarterback draft, but the other guys that I'm intrigued by are right here. Jalen Daniels from Kansas. There was no quarterback or no system in college football this year that did more shifts and pre-snap motions than Kansas. And Jalen Daniels is a leader, and so he's run that offense. And, of course, the Niners, as you know, do tons of pre-shifts, tons of shifts and pre-snap motions and that kind of thing. So Daniels understands that kind of an offense. He's worked with it before. I think he would be an interesting quarterback option, especially if they wind up trading Mac Jones. I don't think they're going to. Mark Gronowski is also interesting. Played at Iowa. His numbers aren't very good, but he's definitely interesting because he's 6'2", 230. He's got 10-inch hands. He's a mechanical engineering major. I mean, he's really smart, really smart. So that's kind of the walk of the board. Tackle-wise, I didn't really go to offensive tackle, but Isaiah World might not be a bad option. Travis Burke is a 6'9" offensive lineman from Memphis. He might not be a bad option. Here are two guys I like right here. Emil Wagner from Notre Dame and J.C. Davis. J.C. Davis went to McClymonds High School in Oakland, and then went to Contra Costa College, and then went to Illinois. And I like him. I mean, he's 6'6", and he's 330, and he's tough, and he's athletic. J.C. Davis is an interesting player. He really is. And so is Chris Adams from Memphis. He's very athletic. So there's a lot of talent on the board. I know there's a lot of people that are very frustrated with the Niners draft, but give you an example. If tomorrow, if I could go, let me go tomorrow. I'll go Harold Perkins. I love Harold Perkins. I'll go Harold Perkins tomorrow. I'll go Zane Durant. Harold Perkins, Zane Durant. I need either Jalen Farmer or Fabechi Wiwu and Jeremiah Wright. I need 2 out of those 3. And I need Deion Burks. I could probably go tight end later. Yeah. That's pretty much it. I probably could go another linebacker. There's probably another linebacker in here. Who's kind of a sleeper linebacker, and he's not on this list, but Micah Thurman from West Georgia. That's like my ultimate sleeper. I don't think he's going to get drafted, but I love that kid. He runs in the 4.5s. The film is great. The film was absolutely fantastic. So, all right. So, I don't know. I mean, I understand why people feel like they reach for a lot of these guys. I get it. I totally get it. And they did. They reached for some of these guys. There's no question about it. But I love Kaylan Black, and I've got hope for the edge rusher, and we'll see about Stribling. I mean, if you tell me just, hey, I've got a guy who blocks really well, and he's got 10-inch hands, and he had a great college playoff, and he runs 4.3. I mean, those are all amazing traits. So maybe I haven't really done the deep dive on Stribling. I am not going to lose my mind because I love Kaylan Black. And I know there's a lot of people going, oh, Kaylan Black, it's the ruination of their draft. And oh my God. And I get it. And I understand what people are saying. It's not like, I don't see it. I understand. Kaylan Black was Dane Brugler said he was going to go in the 5th or 6th round, and the Niners took him in the 3rd round. So I get it. I understand what you're talking about. But I also really like the player. And I think he's a culture-changing kind of a player. So I'm a little bit torn. I like the draft obviously more than, like, I saw Grant's video. He hated it. I saw, I'm going to play you Chase Sr. Chase Sr. absolutely hated it. Hated the draft. And I understand what he's saying, because it's all based on, value. But, have you ever heard that old saying, if your premise is wrong, your conclusion will be wrong by definition? It's like, don't establish value based on these mock drafts, because the reality is that those are guesses, and they're not put out by NFL people. They're put out just by anybody. And so, I mean, I'm not saying that okay, Chase has done a second video, it looks like. All right, we'll share the screen. We'll play it. I do want to hear what he has to say on the second video. So we'll play it. We'll see if I can counter what he's saying here. All right, this is only 22 seconds, so this is probably not the full video, but let's hear it anyway. Here we go. Chase Sr.
I want to put this in perspective for everybody. The 49ers traded back for each of their 3 picks, and they somehow managed to reach on all 3 of those picks. That is really hard to do. This draft for the Niners makes no sense. And you could say, Chase, you're a hater. No, this draft fucking sucks. Explain it to me. You can't.
Okay. I mean, I'm not saying he's wrong, because he is right. They did reach on some picks. There's no question. And I understand. But I like the player that they reached for. So what does that mean? I like Kaylan Black. I think he's going to be a good back. But I understand. I agree with him. I would have rather Kaylan Black been taken in the 5th round. To me, it's like, if you just told me you had this draft, you got to tell me what round. It's like, hey, I got Deshaun Stribling. Great. You get him in the, what round you get him in? It's like, well, got him in the 2nd round, early 2nd round. It's like, first pick of the 2nd. Really? I thought that was 20, 25 picks too high. But if you really love him, whatever. The Romello height, I just think Jayshon Barham just seems so much more significant as a player. And this guy looks like a 1-year production. He's a little bit older. He's kind of spindly. But, I mean, we'll see. And then Kaylan Black, as I said, a lot of people, that it's a major. To take him in the 3rd round was like, whoa. But I do love the player. And I've been saying for the last 2 months, I think he's a culture changing type player. And there's a lot of good players on the board tomorrow. So let's just pump the brakes, see what tomorrow brings, and see what it looks like. I'll believe me. There's plenty of time. There's plenty of time to pan this draft. All right, couple last thoughts. The Krueger Show is presented by Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app. Prize Picks, super simple. You just pick more or less on player stats or game outcomes, build your lineup. It's available in most states, including California. If you haven't checked it out yet, use code HMA. When you play $5, you get $50 in lineups, and it will all happen instantly. Also, thank you to Habbas Law, HabbasLaw.com. They will fight to make it right. Habbas Law is a fantastic sponsor of the Krueger Show. Also, thank you, Alomar Marina. Website, alomarmarina.net. You can float while you dine on the Sacramento River, 5999 Garden Highway. They're open Wednesday through Sunday. Try the shrimp tacos. Get up there and check that place out. You are going to be a huge fan. Really cool spot where you can float while you dine on the Sacramento River. And in the summertime, it's even better. So we're getting towards, just around the time of the year, you need to be checking out Alomar. Also, thank you, Novato Chevrolet. Go see David Corral. My man Gus owns the dealership, rated top car dealership by Carfax. The only place I'll buy a Chevrolet is Novato Chevrolet. Family owned for over 50 years. Friendly staff, meets all of your expectations. Bay Area's EV headquarters. Thank you to Novato Chevrolet. As I said, the only place I will buy a Chevrolet is Novato Chevrolet. And last but certainly not least, thank you to our Sharp Corners, sports cards and collectibles. All the good people at Sharp Corners have been great sponsors of the Krueger Show. The great Anthony Catania offering free shipping He's a great follow on Instagram at Sharp Corners 831 on the gram. All right. Let's hit a couple more of these supers. We got 2,100 people hanging out on this Friday night. Tomorrow morning, we'll get up bright and early for round 3. Day 3, I should say, round 4 of the draft. Normally on Saturdays, I stream with the great John Chapman and Coach. That's what we've been doing recently. I won't do either of those streams tomorrow because it'll be right in the middle of the draft. Coach and I may get together for some kind of stream tomorrow night or maybe tomorrow late afternoon, recapping the whole day. So I'm looking forward to that. We'll definitely do that, Coach and I. And if we don't do it tomorrow, we'll definitely do it Sunday. So looking forward to that stream. I haven't talked to Coach during the draft, and I would love to know how he sees this thing. And I'm sure, we don't necessarily always see it the same. A couple more here. Anthony Catania, there he is. He says, Larry, phenomenal coverage of the draft. Best in the business. I hope these picks pan out. Go Niners. Thank you, Anthony. We appreciate you, brother. All I'd say is I like the draft a whole lot more than Grant does and a whole lot more than Chase Sr. does. But a lot of my feelings about the draft will be formulated tomorrow because tomorrow is a big day. And I really believe that championships are won on day 3 of the draft. I really believe that. Sun Jalery says, it doesn't matter the round drafted if it's a hit. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I feel. I mean, I really do feel that way. It's like when I go and evaluate these drafts, and I'm going to do a video this year on everybody's draft throughout, in the next month, we'll do a breakdown on every team's draft in the NFL. Every single team. We're going to do one. But what I love about, day 3 of the draft is that this is where this separates the men from the boys. Who know? Do you know what you're doing? Can you find players? And it doesn't really matter. The way I look at it is I count total number of players. That's the first thing. How many players are you getting out of this draft class to contribute? You could have a great draft, but you get 1 player, 2 players, you're not getting a lot. You could drive no superstars, but if you've got a 12-player draft or 13-player draft, and those guys make your football team like the Niners players did from last year's draft, it's just a matter of time before you're on top of the football world. That's great depth. This is depth. Depth matters. This isn't basketball. This is pro football. Depth matters. Green Bay Packers won the Super Bowl one year with 23 guys on season-ending IR. Having depth matters. And he's right here, or she's right, whoever this is. It doesn't matter the round, just if it's a hit. I agree. Nobody's going to care that Kalon Black was a 3rd-round pick if Kalon Black is a really good running back. I mean, it's not like you took him the 1st, but I hear you. I wouldn't have I think it's a definite reach, and I don't think there's any way you can defend it as anything but a reach. But once again, I love the player. and if I could hand pick a running back, I mean, there's videos of me saying it. There's live streams of me saying it, telling Damon Bruce, if there's one player that I absolutely have to have out of this draft, one of the guys I said was Kalon Black, because he is a culture-changing player. You can feel the will of this player. You can feel his toughness. I think he's terrific. I mean, I'd love to hear what Shanahan and Bobby T have to say about Kalon Black, because these guys know their backs, and they got a good one here. They got a really good one. I was so fired up when I saw that. I know it's a reach, but I love that player. Bay Area 7546. Remember when everyone was jacked for Reuben Foster? The next year, unknown Fred Warner from Little BYU came in and outplayed him. Give it time. Go Niners. Yeah, no question. That's why you got to give it time. You got to give it time. We got this one from Shanair 2015. Shanesh. How about Kilgore, Parker, Durant, and Perkins in the 4th? Yeah, I love Jalen Kilgore. I'm a big Jalen Kilgore fan. Maybe I should put a clip up here of Jalen Kilgore. That is the guy that I just think is terrific. Now, we watched Nick Emanwari last year become this, like, what the heck is this guy? Is he this? Is he that? It's like we weren't really sure what he was, right? Because he was like this jack of all trades guy. but South Carolina as a program produces some just unbelievable athletic players. And Jalen Kilgore is a lot like Nicky Manwari. I love this player. He's 6'1", 220 roughly. He lost about 10 pounds for the testing, but played at about 215, I think, 210, 210. I think they list him at 210. Anyway, the guy is versatile. He can play corner. He can play safety. He's got great ball skills. 8 career interceptions. He's physical and run support. 80.6 PFF run defense grade. Allowed just a 52.3% completion rate against him this year. Top end speed. They reached him at 23 miles an hour. They gauged him at 23 miles an hour on the GPS. Great ball tracker. Over 2,200 snaps played over 3 seasons. They projected him as a day 2 guy, and he is just awesome. Let me show you 45-second clip of this guy, because this guy is something, man. And to me, I see Nicky Manwari. I see Nicky Manwari with a little bit better coverage skills, and he's just a great dynamic player. They played him at slot corner, but he's a hitter too. Okay, so let's see what. There he is off the edge, tack on the running back from behind. He wears 24. Big hit there and run support. Boom. See, I mean, that's a big hitter. Bud Clark, who went to Seattle today, is not hitting like that. Now, they have Manwari right now. Here he is in coverage. They picked off that pass. See, you're seeing he can play the nickel corner. This guy's got coverage ability like a corner. I mean, he's got 4.4 flat speed. So they played him at weak side backer. He can play corner, he can play safety, but I mean, a little bit of everything. I love this player, man. I think this is the kind of player that could be a real difference maker. So anyway, Jalen Kilgore, that's one of my favorite guys right there from South Carolina. Let's see. We got a couple more here. I think I've skipped around on these supers, and I don't want to miss any. But let me just make sure we get them all. We'll get them all, and then we'll bolt for the door here. We've been going for 2 hours. Niner Gold. Why do you think Niners overreach? Ask Lynch, please. Well, of course, it's going to be an argumentative question. John, why is it that you guys reach for so many picks? Well, it's our rankings are not. We don't feel like we reach. We feel like we're getting good value. Why do So that's where every board is different. But there is a way to ask this question that's not so accusatory. Why do you guys fucking reach all the time? That might be a little harsh. But how about this as a phrasing? You guys have your guys that you really like, and it seems like you're intent on getting them, even if that's not where they're slated to go in the draft. Is that a fair assessment of your philosophy? What do you think, guys? Pretty good, huh? It's pretty good. It's kind of the same question. It's kind of a nicer way of saying you fucking reached. It's like, thing is, you say you fucking reached, then he's going to be all mad. Next thing I know, my card key doesn't work. What? How come I can't get in the building? Why am I not allowed? I used to sit in the front row. Now I'm not. Now they don't want me. No, you got to be truthful. But yeah, I think that's a good way to ask that question. Is you guys are tied into your guys. You obviously you really liked Romello. You really liked Stribling. Your scouts felt really good about Kalon Black. Your coaches did, whatever. Obviously, you develop this conviction, and that conviction draws you to the player. And it seems like you're not as concerned about the rankings. Is that a fair assessment? And then see what he says. Well, our rankings we think are better than their rankings. We think their rankings are wrong. Or, hey, you know what? We trust our coaches. They do have their coaches do a lot of the stuff, and I wonder if that's a smart thing. Coaches are always going to want right now. See, that's the thing about this. Kalon Black is a developed player who's ready to play right now. Now, there's probably a couple other backs that, Mike Washington maybe needs a little bit more development. Well, he needs a little bit more time. There's guys that probably need a little bit more refinement. This guy's very refined. He's played a lot of football. He's 24 years old. So, that's the thing. Coaches are going to they're not going to want somebody who's going to take all this time to develop. Why? Because they're going to get fired before that guy develops. So it's like, I don't want some guy who's going to be there in 3 years. I want some guy right now. And Kalon Black is like going to be good next year. He's good right now. And he's not like a down the road guy. That's the one thing I noticed with these picks. They kind of went with some guys that are like, they're ready to go. They're ready to step in and play. There's a lot of teams that I love Ted Hurst. Give you an example. Ted Hurst. Love Ted Hurst. Georgia State wide receiver. But even I can acknowledge, because I know what I'm talking about, that Ted Hurst is going to take some time. It's going to take some time. The guy went to Georgia State. It's not the SEC, let alone the NFL. So it's going to take Ted Hurst some time. But he went to Tampa, and I think it's a great pick, and we'll see 3 years from now who's better between Ted Hurst and Deshaun Stribling. I love Ted Hurst, and I would have probably taken Ted Hurst. But I can acknowledge that Ted Hurst is raw, really raw, and he's going to have several steps up, and it's going to be a big thing. I'm actually at a point now where I would have liked to have seen the Niners trade one of their picks for Brian Thomas Jr. I wanted to see the veteran, because I don't love rookie receivers, because rookie receivers don't do jack usually. But there you go. We got this one from Ian Sharp. Tight end tomorrow? Possibly. Definitely, they're going to add a tight end tomorrow for sure. Maybe undrafted, but definitely a tight end tomorrow. Thank you, Anthony, on that one. We got that. Okay, now we're kind of working back. Bay Area 7-5. Remember when everyone was jacked for Reuben Foster? Yeah, okay, we got that. We got all these. All right, so that's pretty much it for tonight. Let's go into the non-supers. Wait a second. We got this one here. JCNY 49er. Definition of insanity with this regime. We need legit top-tier guards to compete with Seattle, not 4th or 5th round project. Basantis was the guy. Terrible. I hear you. I hear that. But first of all, I'm telling you, man, the guys that I like in the offensive line tomorrow, Owiwu, Jeremiah Wright, Jalen Farmer, I like them as much or more than the guys who went today. I like those guys. There's great power and strength in those 3 guys. And if I could get 2 of them, Farmer or Wright plus Owiwu, to me, it's mission accomplished. Then you've got strength on the offensive line. You got backs, and then it's just really about defense. Get those 2 offensive linemen. Maybe, Deion Burks would be fantastic. I can't see them adding another receiver, but Deion Burks is just awesome speed. Love to have him on our team this year. People asking for some Trent Baalke. You want some Trent Baalke? We got this one from LOL. The Truth says Kalon Black is not a receiver out of the backfield. He's going to get buried on the bench. We shall see. We shall see. They didn't throw it to him much at Indiana. That's for sure. Woodpit. Nobody drafting a wide receiver without Kyle's blessing. Yeah, I'd love to know. There were some weird vibes in their room tonight. I mean, are they on the same page? Are they not? Did Kyle want these picks or not? There was one pick. It looked like the Stribling pick where it just didn't look like Kyle was fired up. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Woodpit says, give us Baalke with the name in the drawer, Larry. I wrote down H.A. Jenkins' name in an envelope, and I put it in my desk drawer, Lowry. And I was going to look at it, but I said, no, I'm going to wait till draft day. And then I revealed that envelope. I took it out of my desk. Kind of pinched my finger, actually. Got a paper cut. Look at it. Look, you can see right there. But I'll tell you, Lowry, I thought A.J. Jenkins was a ball player. And it kind of shows one thing. I don't know shit. I'm just Trent Baalke with a voice that sounds kind of strained. You know what I mean? Uh, Purple baby skunk. You missed my chat, Larry? What? What? God dang it. All right, I'm going to go look. Purple baby skunk. Is there a purple baby skunk in the house? I think he's screwing with me. Oh, no, maybe I did. Oh, here we go. Sorry about that. Sorry, purple baby skunk. Great handle. The best deep threat, best speed rusher, best power running back. That's one way to look at this. I think this is a better draft than the people that are panning it. I think the people that are panning it haven't really looked at it. I really believe that's the case. And I think people are really reacting to the reach of the running back. I'm not sure if we got this one either. Purple baby skunk, deep threat, speed rusher, power back, all needs. Yeah, I think I might have skipped both of yours. God, look at that. Purple baby skunk. You know what? What did I use? Drafted what they needed / the best accent pieces. I don't think I got any of these. Purple baby skunk. I don't think I got this one either. From Frigolito Tamagito. Is Stribling better than Ayuk in the lineup? Well, I mean, that's a stretch. That's a stretch. I didn't get this one either. Carlos Garibay. Take a shot on Jermod McCoy. He's only 20. Doesn't he have a knee problem? Heavyweight Hank. What's the first question you're going to ask Kyle and John when the draft is over? All right. What cracks me up is when people ask Kyle questions about feelings. Kyle, how do you feel? Oh my God. I can just see him rolling his eyes like, dude, are you kidding me? What's the first question that I'd like to ask John and Kyle about this draft? Well, I think I'd like to ask Kyle. You know, Kyle was saying that he didn't use Brian Robinson last year because he didn't have the same skill set to Christian McCaffrey. And Kalen Black, I think, is a good player, but he's not a receiver out of the backfield like McCaffrey. So do they have a back today that has the same skill set as McCaffrey, or are they still looking for that elusive match that Shanahan covets so much? I mean, that's one question. Does Kalen Black, is he a guy? Are you going to play Kalen Black? Are you going to play Jordan James? Or is it just going to be the CMC show? Because it's always been the CMC show since he's shown up. He says they're going to do it differently, but I'll believe it when I see it. As far as John, I'd like to know ultimately who gets the final call in the room. Is it different for different guys? Is it different? Who has the final say? We all like this guy. We all like that guy. We all like both these guys. We all like everything. Who gets the final say? Raheem Morris? Robert Saleh? Chris Kasarik? Kyle Shanahan? Tariq Ahmad? RJ Gillen? John Lynch? Who gets the final say? Jed? Parag? I would like to know. I'd love them to take me a little bit beyond the curtain. Tell me, who gets the final say? Because there was a couple moments today, it looked like maybe John had the final say. Kyle didn't look too happy. But that's what I'd like to ask. God, we have another one that I feel like I missed. I feel like I missed a bunch of these. We got this one. I didn't read this one from TFS. So McCoy, do we remember Frank Gore? Yeah, but I mean, for every guy that tears up his knees before they come out of college, how many go on to have an incredible 16-year run like Gore or whatever? But they have the medicals. They do have the medicals. We don't. JCNY 49er. The fan base is getting fed up with John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan drafts. Really does sound like that. So we'll see. I understand why people feel like they reached, and I understand. I mean, I definitely think they reached, but doesn't mean the guys can't play. Doesn't mean the guys can't play. It just means that they were taken ahead of where they were projected. Albert says, hey, Larry, please tell me, what does it mean making more money available with OSA? I have a good feeling this year. We're getting it in SoFi. I love you, Larry. What does it mean? Well, so they redid OSA's contract and they turned some of that money in from base into bonus, and he gets that money and changes the dynamics or the numbers on the cap, and it freed up some cap room. And a lot of people think that it was done, and I'm one of them, by the way, who believes this. And I talked about it. I did a video about it just 2 days ago. I really think that the 49ers may trade one of those picks tomorrow to the New York Giants for Kayvon Thibodeau, a rusher that's ready to roll, or possibly another position, but a veteran. They may draft offensive line and other positions and not draft any more edge rushers and want to use some of that money to go sign a Joey Bosa. So I definitely think that when you see a team free up money on the cap during the draft, that it generally means they're going to take on a veteran in a trade. And maybe they're going to take on a cap hit. They're really adamant about moving Ayuk tomorrow. And if they can, there's going to be a cap hit involved. And the cap hit involved, they may get a pick from somebody tomorrow. I kind of think they might. But they're going to have to pay a cap penalty. So you're going to have more cap room to pay that exorbitant cap penalty. It actually is in their best interest to release him after June 1st and split the cap, the dead cap, over 2 years instead of one. But I think they're willing to split it over one and not two if they could get back some kind of compensation that helps them improve their football team. And we'll find that out tomorrow. And I think they've talked about it for so long that it makes me feel like maybe there is somebody that's willing to give a day 3 pick for Ayuk. And maybe the Niners are willing to pay some of the money that, to help facilitate them getting an asset in return. I don't know all the dynamics at play here on this, but I definitely think that you may see the 49ers add a veteran player tomorrow in some capacity, and maybe that cap savings gives them that additional cap room to accommodate that contract. Long-worded way of saying I don't know. I probably should have just said I don't know. But there you go. John Thomas says, what do you think about Caden Curry, Larry? Baby Bosa. He had 11 sacks this year. He's not Bosa, but he's tough, and he's got a great motor. And I think he would be a great day 3 pick. 11 sacks in the Big Ten. He's got a motor. He's strong. He needs to work on his body a little bit. He needs to work on his get off. He needs to work on his hand placement. I mean, he needs work. But he's got some core traits that are really, really good. And I really like him. I think Caden Curry would be a nice pick. Well coached. And you can see that he's well coached. He just needs more development. And that would be neat to see, the older Buckeye kind of trying to develop the younger Buckeye. And wouldn't it be something if you had Caden Curry and you got Joey Bosa? Now you got Ohio State Joey, Ohio State Nick, and Ohio State Caden Curry all on one team trying to rush the quarterback. I'd like it. It would be exciting. It would be really exciting. I think it would be neat. Definitely something to look for tomorrow. All right. That's going to do it for us. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle. Thanks to Habbas Law. Thanks to Prize Picks. And thanks to all of our sponsors. The list is in the description for all of our sponsors. I'm back with you tomorrow for the draft. We will do videos after every single pick and full breakdowns. And I'm sure we'll do a live stream at some juncture after the draft, breaking it all down. And then the real fun happens. Saturday afternoon, the undrafted free agent market comes together. And by dinner time on Saturday night, you're going to have another group of players. And there always will be some player or two that you're like, I would have taken that guy in the 4th round. I would have taken that guy there's like some guy that I talked about tonight in this video that I think is really a good player that I think is going in the 4th or 5th round. That's not going to be drafted. And the 49ers are going to sign that player as an undrafted free agent and get him for nothing. And it's the beautiful part about the draft. It's like you get like extra gifts there at the end. All right. That's going to do it. Thanks. Hey, by the way, we have 2,164 people hanging out right now. If everybody could hit like, that would be awesome. It helps more people find the stream in the algorithm. And if everybody could hit subscribe, I've really been doing this for a while now. I think we have like almost 65,000 or 67,000 subscribers. I don't beg for subscribers. I definitely would never pay for subscribers. But if you would subscribe to the channel, that would be awesome. And we put out a lot of good content during the draft. We're going to put out a lot of good content between now and training camp. I would dare to say that we'll put out as much good content between now and camp as anybody. And then once camp starts, hey man, it's a day-to-day thing, man. I'm there all day, every day. And the grind never stops. We're doing videos, camp reports, daily breakdowns. I don't do camp stats, but everything short of camp stats, I will bring you. And our goal is to try to bring you the best content that we possibly can all season long. So that's the goal. And thanks to Kev for putting really working hard during the draft, getting this stuff out. Really appreciate him and all the work that he does. Thanks to our sponsors. Thanks to all you guys. Have a great night. Fear not. I know there's a lot of frustration on this draft, but just trust me when I say I've spent a lot of time looking at Kalon Black. And even though they reach for this back, you guys are going to love this running back. Have a great night, everybody. Peace.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get